Om Shri Sai Ram. Offering our most humble pranams at the divine lotus feet of Mother Sai in this very, very holy and auspicious occasion of Navratri. I, on behalf of the Samarpan team, welcome all of you to this wonderful session with Brother Abhimanyu Kaul. We will begin with 3 Omkars. Request everybody to please join in. Om. Once again, invoking the divine Shakti of Bhagawan Sri Satya Sai Baba. Welcome to all of you to the new edition, to the Navratri, special Navratri edition of Samarpan. Those of us who have ever been in Prashanti Nilayam during the months or during the occasion of Navratri could sense the divine Shakti, the divine energy electrifying the atmosphere. Whether it was the Jnana Yagna, whether it was the Yagna at Purnachandra Auditorium, whether it was the Yagna of service through Gram Seva, or just the energy that Bhagwan exuded during that period, would know that Navratri was a very, very special time in Prashanti. It is the occasion of celebrating victory over evil, whether we celebrate it as the the victory of Mahishasura Mardini Devi over the buffalo demon Mahishasura, or the victory of Lord Rama over Ravana. It is symbolic of the victory of good over evil, our own good tendencies over the evil vasanas. In this special occasion, it is our privilege to have Brother Abhimanyu Kaul share his thoughts and experiences on Bhagawan and Navratri. I'm sure many of us who have attended the Samarpan sessions or are very, very are active on YouTube would have come across Brother Abhimanyu Kaul, or known simply as Brother Abhi. To many of us would be familiar with Brother Abhi. Professionally, he's a consultant and coach internationally. He consults and coaches across the world in Indonesia, South Africa, India, Nepal, and Central America, primarily spreading the values education and value orientation in life. He has authored a book, The Joy of Self-Discovery, which was blessed and launched by Bhagwan himself. He has been, had moved to Toronto, Canada, developing his life's purpose with his company called Values in Action, and was subsequently blessed to be the advisor to the Ministry of Education in Trinidad and Tobago for values and character education, where a values school with International has been started since then. Of course, he was, he spent his formative years in the direct divine presence from 83 to 1990, completed his schooling, graduation, and master's degree in commerce from Prashanti Nilayam. He was privileged to be a part of the Vedam group, dance and poetry groups, the university band, and many other activities during his student days. He continues to be a very, very active part of the alumni group and a driving force of the alumni group, especially during the Prema Bandham or the alumni meet every year on the 1st of January. He is a great storyteller who brings to life the wonderful moments spent at the Divine Lotus Feet, not just his own experiences, but has been a driving force, bringing all the alumni together, especially during the lockdown when we were all looking for a sign of hope. Brother Abhi has been instrumental in bringing a lot of alumni and teachers together through the online satsang, known as his story through the eyes of his boys. Brother Abhi is a repository of several stories and also a shire at heart. I now welcome Brother Abhi Kaul to please share his thoughts on Swami, Bhagawan and Navaratri. Saira. Brother, you're on mute.
Om Shri Sai Ram. Thank you for your lovely introduction. I think you must have struggled enough to compile all this information. Let me start off by offering my most humble and prayerful salutations at the lotus feet of our beloved Bhagawan, Sri Satya Sai Baba. This is a very auspicious occasion. As a Sai community and especially as a Sai student, Navratri holds a very special place in our hearts, and especially in mine, because this was the time when Bhagawan chose me and taught me how to be a speaker. And that year when he selected me to speak, it was the 5th day of Navratri that I was slotted to speak. And my topic was love. So today happens to be the 5th day of Navratri. So it is a kind of very nostalgic and a beautiful emotion for me, as a blessing of Bhagavan, I would say. So I was just recalling it and I felt so connected that this is a time, I always felt in Avatar's life, I keep telling this again and again, that I find there are few things which Avatar did, and there are many things he allowed. You go to him and he says, Swami, I want to celebrate Ashadi, welcome. I want to celebrate Chinese New Year, welcome. So he was open to everything. But what he wanted us to celebrate in particular, that is unique. And in that I find Navratri and Mahashivratri. These are the two festivities which Bhagavan himself celebrated and led it. And he showed us and the world a very new way of celebrating them. How to really look at these Navaratri, how to look at these special occasions of life. He has given us a new perspective. Just to start off, I want to open it up that if anybody wants to switch on their videos, they are welcome to, because I like to see faces. Otherwise, thank you, Brother Siddharth and Anush and Sai Mohan. At least you are keeping me alive. So others are also who are in decent shape, they can switch on their videos. I don't mind. So I thought I'll just share with you this, what I've gathered from Bhagavan and how things, have evolved for me. Navaratri, per se, if you look at it, it is a very beautiful occasion and a time for a spiritual aspirant. Even if you look at from a personal journey of life, these 9 nights are very auspicious. And Bhagavan has a unique style of bringing culture, tradition, and spiritual quest into one's energy. Originally, I had, I come from a background which has a spiritual basis, but I never had that orientation to learn, Vedas or anything like that. And on this day, you find the Lord himself sitting as a Yajna Purusha. Can you imagine the terminology also is so phenomenal? The Sapta is Vidwan Mahasabha, such kind of an elaborate, notation Bhagavan gives you, that how he wants the 7 nights or this 9 nights to be celebrated is very unique. And in the final day, culmination, when Bhagavan sits on the fire himself as Yajna Purusha himself, and all the ahutis, the offerings by the priest, are not put in the fire. If you notice it, it is given to him. They offer it to him and he puts it in the fire. And that time you should see the flames roaring high. It's a sight. I'm sure all of us who have witnessed that can never forget that divine sight. And Bhagavan is not sitting far from the fire. If you are really with him close by, you will see he's literally over the fire actually. Normally if you sit near the fire, you get the heat and you back off. But here he's standing right on top of it. And whatever is offered to him, he just puts it in the fire. And it's a sight which, I used to get mesmerized looking at it. And for that reason, I learned Vedas. When I was a student, that was not a mandatory thing for everybody to learn. And later on, our principal Habu sir made the whole school learn it. And then Bhagavan made the whole college learn it. And then he put it in the forum that whole world should chant. So basically, he made it everybody to chant Vedas. But at our time of student, it was not a mandatory thing. It was a choice. If you like it, you can learn it. So I had taken this Vedas only for that selfish reason, that I wanted to sit next to him during this Navratri Havan. Can you imagine that innocent desire of mine, that I wanted to sit because it used to be so beautiful to watch him. And he was so graceful. Obviously, he was graceful all the time. But at that time, his grandeur was something totally different, out of the world. And you could not even talk to him at that moment, when he would really sit like Yajna Purusha himself and pour it. And then he would stand up. I'm just trying to give you a visuals. If all of you have seen him, can visualize it, how Bhagavan would stand at the top of the Havan Kund, and he would lift his hands like this, and it will be filled with all the akshatram. And it's a very beautiful sight to watch. I used to wonder, like when he did like that first time, I said, where did he pick up? That's like kind of an immediate, like, how did it come at him? Because he didn't pick up from any basket or anything like that. He just did like that, and he starts pouring it into the fire. And it was so awesome. Like, what is happening here? It's a sight to watch when the creator, when the Yajna Purusha himself sits down, accepting the offering, making the offering, and creating the offering. What a divine convergence of the creator and the creation. And that time we used to have a lot of these small anecdotes. In that akshatram, when he used to create, in that there were a lot of things. And there were some pearls also. So it had rice, it had so many things, but it used to also have pearls. And the funny part is, there's a humor in that. Swami would even pour the pearls also inside that. Everything was going. But some pearls will drop down and then they'd fall off. In those days, the Kulwant Hall was, Purunchand Auditorium was not having that pit in the front. It only had the steps. So many times when Swami would pour it like that, and many of the pearls would just trickle down the steps and go down to the devotees. And the ladies and the gents sitting in the front row would grab it. Obviously, we all want to grab anything which comes from the Lord. So they would grab it. And you won't believe it. The funny part is that after the Havan function is over, Swami would send the Sevadal or his students and say, go to so-and-so house, she has taken 2 pearls. Go to that house, she has taken 1. Go to that. So, and then collect it back. And it's like a Saira ma'am, Swami has said, please give back that pearl. So like that, he would bring it back. And that was another sign of his divine, manifestation, divinity, that he would show us that even in that apparent chaos, apparent, like all this happening, the avatar was in control and he knew exactly what was happening. So that was a divine sight to watch this 9-day event. Every day morning you go there, quietly watch the Homan happening. And when Bhagawan selected us for speeches, the morning turned out to be blessing for us, because he would call us separately in the green room behind the stage and give us a lot of pep talk, if I may use the term, and teach us the nuances of public speaking. And he would tell you the postures, the different styles of, standing, hand movements, eyes, voice modulation. So it was a very divine side. That's why I said this occasion is very nostalgic and very blessed for every Sai devotee and a Sai student. To watch Avatar in action is beautiful. At one site, you can see the creator, creation, and manifestation and emergence, everything happening right in that small frame. And next to this effulgent fire, a beautiful, raging fire, everything purifying right there. And let me now share with you a little bit about what I have picked up through my journey with Bhagawan about this auspicious occasion called Navratri. In simple terms, Navratri is 9 nights, and the culmination is Dashahara, which is the 10th night. Bhagawan has explained it in many, many discourses, and I'm sure all of us are qualified, so I'm not trying to teach. It's like teaching the choir. I'm not trying to do that, but just to give you a little flavor of what I have understood. Everything in our Sanatan philosophy, or in our mode of religion, if I may have to use the term, in Sanatan thought, every action, every festivity, whatever is done in our systems is done only for one basic purpose, and that is self-realization. It may sound funny to people, it may sound weird to somebody, but that is the truth. All the secret formulas, if I may use the term, all the secret ways of doing things are intertwined and hidden inside our rituals of life. The way you get up in the morning, the way we eat food, the way we have to perform our birthdays and death ceremonies, and everything has the undercurrent is self-realization and God realization. This process of evolution, this process of inquiry actually is facilitated by the nature also. So if a human being takes a little step, a baby step towards that, the nature comes forward and assists you and gives you a booster. So I feel this Navaratri period, like Mahashivratri, Navaratri, these are the times when you get a booster effort. You put in one and then you get a booster, and you are immediately, you take like 100 steps right there. So if we can focus on these occasions, these nights, these festivities from that point of view, then whatever we are doing, it enhances our effort multiple times. I don't want to quantify it as how many times, but it's a fact. Like waking up at night for Mahashivratri, people started gambling and waking up. The purpose was not to wake up. purpose was to focus at night, because that night was so conducive that it would enhance. Similarly, Navaratri, this 9 nights, is a very beautiful journey. It aligns cosmically, it aligns from astrological point of view. Everything gets aligned in such a way that if in these 9 days and nights, if a spiritual aspirant seriously and consciously works on themselves, their evolution can take a multiple leaps. You can grow. And how it is explained is very sweet in a very simple way. Our whole story is told like a philosophy is told in a story way. Now they very simply, they will tell you that the first 3 days, this is of course, as Brother Ansh introduced, it is a Devi's form that we are worshipping and invoking in these nights. What is this Devi? What is this energy that we talk about? So we look at the first one concept of explaining, which Bhagawan also has done it so beautifully. He does it for us, is first 3 days dedicated to Saraswati. So what is this Saraswati that we are dedicating to? See, for anything you start in life, knowledge is important. It becomes the basis. If you don't know what you're doing, then you're like a blind man walking on the street. You have no clue where you're going to. So Saraswati is that invocation of that enlightenment, that knowledge, that vision, that, oh Lord, let me know. What we say, asatoma sadgamaya. Let me know. So that is a Saraswati phenomena. And in that you find the 3 days of studies, awareness, knowing about God, knowing about things, getting aware of yourself. So let us realize it. And then comes the period of Lakshmi. What is this? Once you know yourself, then you have to know how to act, how to live, how to be in that state. And that state of sustenance is Lakshmi. How do we sustain ourselves in that format, in that mode of awareness that I have known now let me live. And after I have lived in that format, I must realize, and that is Durga. Like somebody very beautifully questioned Swami, one student in our alumni gathering, he questioned Swami. Swami had a habit, Bhagawan had a very beautiful style, that after every interactions, every discourse, he would, especially with the boys, he would do that. He would just ask any questions. And you will not believe, even if there are 400-500 boys, Bhagawan could just simply say questions. And boys could get up from anywhere and shout a question at him. And it is a very beautiful sight to watch that Swami would answer any question from any sphere of life. Boys could ask him from spiritual questions of any confusion. They could ask him a political question about their struggle in life. They could ask him about family issues. Anything they could ask Swami and he would respond. And it is such a beautiful interactions. In that, I remember one boy asking Swami very sweetly, he said, Swami, you said I'm God and I believe it. Look at the question, Swami, you said I'm God, I believe it. Then why should I worry about consequences of action, and why should I worry about anything? Swami said, yes, now you know it, but you haven't experienced it. The moment you experience this truth, you don't need to worry about anything. Right now, you only know it. It is theory. You haven't experienced. Hence, you need to do your sadhana. You need to act. So, knowledge is very good. Living with the knowledge is better, but realizing the knowledge is the key. As long as we have not realized it, हमें अगर जब तक उसका अनुभव नहीं हुआ, if we have not realized it, till then, the whole knowledge has not reached its essence, its peak. So the beauty is that, yes, Babu, you know it, but you have not realized it. Experience, Chaleda, experience you have not. Hence, you need to work and worry, and not worry, but be careful about your consequences. See, that is where we jump. We try to, sometimes over philosophize ourselves or simplify our life and saying, okay, Swami will take care. What do you mean by that? Have we really dedicated ourselves that he should take care? And why should he take care? Have we become that special? हमने कुछ किया है क्या? Have we done something extraordinary that God should say, yes, he's my child and I will look after him? So that is the beauty of this. So Saraswati, Lakshmi, and Durga. See, this is how you can look at it. Another way, which is a very beautiful, I find it very interesting perspective, which I have gathered, is the journey of evolution, if I may say so. Hamari apni growth, a journey of life. If you look at it, this Navdurga is. So even if you take the same concept for Ganesh Chaturthi period, every festival is like that. It has that same kind of connotation and intent that you first, these 9 nights are very important. So what do? We want to install God. We want to invoke and install God in our house, in our life, in our heart. So the first day of this Navaratri, we invite God, and God enters in our life as the most hidden and subtle cosmic awareness. And that is why we call it Shailaputri, the daughter of mountain. Can you imagine the stone? Like they say, no, the consciousness is sleeping in stone. It is not, stone is not bereft of consciousness. We think stone is dead. No, nothing is dead in this cosmos. Every atom is vibrating with divine. So what is the difference between a stone and this human body, which is vibrating so high? It is that vibrational, that frequency in which the cosmic consciousness is vibrating. So where the cosmic consciousness is vibrating at the least, in the most subtlest form, that is Shailaputri. So that is why we first invoke the mother as Shailaputri, that let the consciousness, the supreme consciousness come, enter, and I install you, I invoke you. And so she starts that as that. So we have brought her in, even if my learning, my understanding may not be there, but I have received her. Now from there, when the consciousness is born, even if in a subtlest way, then there's no avoidance. Action has started. So how should we act? We have to perform penance. We have to conduct in all the best possible manner. And that is the next form of Mata, which is Brahmacharani. Now look at the cosmic consciousness is entered. Now it has to conduct. And how it can blossom is only by Brahmacharani. So if all of us who have to take the path of spirituality, it doesn't mean that you have to start getting bachelor and all that. No, it is a concept of Brahmacharani, that one who can contemplate on Brahman all the time. Like it said, Hanumanji was married, but he is considered to be a perpetual Brahmachari. It's a contradiction for many who don't understand the philosophy properly. But Hanuman was so much engrossed in Lord Ram that he was always in Ram. That's why he said, roam, roam. Every hair strand of Hanuman used to sing Ram. See, this also was given by Swami only. This truth that he did not tear his chest. See how they depict. Swami said, some film fellow showed you, if you tear any body, you only get blood. Hanuman did not tear his body. Concept is roam, roam me Ram. In every hair strand was singing Ram. So that is a story told by Bhagawan, that he plucked his hair and gave it to everybody and said, listen. And every hair was singing Ram, Ram. So it was not tearing his chest. It was giving his hair strand. So what is that? That is the concept of brahmachari, one who is constantly engaged in the contemplation of Brahman. So once you have installed him, then let us spend from second day onwards constant integration of God, CIA. So let us get involved. And that state, we invoke the energy as brahmacharani. And that is why you will find them mostly in the white. Yes, if I'm not wrong, they represent purity. So you can read about it. They give you that beautiful symbolism of how brahmacharani is shown. That's why Bhagavan gave us white. He never gave us orange dress to wear, because we are supposed to be brahmacharis, not limited only to physical marriage or non-marriage, because we are supposed to be in constant integration, integrated awareness of Brahman. That is why it is, so brahmacharani is also in white. So this is the beauty of that brahmacharani concept. So now when you come into that penance, exploring that knowledge, then what happens? Then there's an effulgence. From knowledge, when you churn, sundarta to niklegi. That beauty, which effulgence which comes out of the churning of knowledge is Ma Chandraghanta. Chandraghanta is representing of beauty and bravery, because the effulgence which comes out of knowledge, of penance, is amazing. That is mind-boggling. And that is what is referred to as Mata Chandraghanta. So we are representing, we are invoking that presence, which we pray that Ma Chandraghanta, when we invoke you, let us also evolve to enjoy that effulgence, that grace, that grandeur, which churns out of penance, of what? Of that cosmic consciousness. So the more and more we churn, what comes out is effulgent Mata Chandraghanta. And then comes the fourth. When this effulgent is spreading all around us, then it is obvious to find a kind of convergence. So then it takes a shape. What they say, Bhagavan also has very beautifully explained it. When he created that egg, you remember Bhagavan, there's a very beautiful picture of Bhagavan with a golden egg, and he calls it Hiranyagarbha. I have seen it, Swami create, and I've heard about it, but I understood it after many decades. What that egg means, I conceptually understood many years later, decades later. I used to enjoy watching him. He in fact showed it, and I was blessed. I folded my hand and it was very mechanical, but couldn't comprehend that what is he showing. He has produced it, no doubt about it. It came out of him. It's a golden, beautiful, shining lingam. But what is this? I don't know. And I could not ask him. There was no opportunity to ask him at that moment. It was, I think we had become alumni by then. But I couldn't comprehend, but I knew that it's something phenomenal. It is something phenomenal. Swami said, if you have watched it, you're liberated. All that he said, and it was very phenomenal. Okay. But what is this Hiranyagarbha? Kabhi socha aapne? I don't know. Ye Hiranyagarbha hai kya? What is this which he created? And decades later, I was reading some Bhagavatam, and I got this concept of Hiranyagarbha. And then I read Swami again, and it made some sense to me. It seems that when the creation started, now I'm not going to tell you the creation story here, but when supposedly the creation happened, it happened by, as Bhagavan said, a will. That Mahat Tattva willed, or not even will, it can be called a will also. It is basically a wish to love, to express himself. That expression of Mahat Tattva took a shape, what we define as Aham Tattva, that I-ness, which is correlated with Narayan Tattva. That Narayan is that I-ness of Aham Tattva, which is Brahman. From Aham Tattva, what manifested first were three gunas or three frequencies. The vibratory frequencies which came out were Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. And then the permutation combination of it is this manifested world. Okay, I'm making the story a little short because I can't take you through the whole journey. Time is not, and the context is not. So when this whole cosmos came in picture, then the Lord was, they had to create further, right? So there's I-ness, that Narayan Tattva also felt the desire of manifestation, that will happen in I-ness. That I-ness manifested what we know as Brahma. So Brahma is the manifested will of I-ness, Aham Tattva, which is a cosmic manifestation of Aham Tattva, Mahat Tattva. So the cosmic thing gave I gave Brahma. Brahma was said, in as they explained to you in Purans, he said, okay, I have created this, Brahma, all the creation is done. You can choose these elements and create the now creation of yours. Let the play continue and you become the creator now. So Brahma does not create anything. He is like a perfect scientist who takes all the elements in the nature and does the permutation combination. So where does he put that? Where is his laboratory? Where is his, where he puts all these? That he creates, as they say, his egg. That is why this whole cosmos is called Brahmand. Brahma's anda. Brahma ka anda. Brahma's egg is this cosmos. In this egg of Brahma, so we are all in the egg of Brahma. Brahma created the egg. Egg mein usne, he put all these elements which were already created by the cosmic will. When God willed, that I-ness willed, the three manifestations, three gunas happened and the whole creation happened. Then Brahmaji picked up all these elements and put it in his egg. And in that egg, then the I-ness enters as the life force. So embryo and the life force, and the cosmos became alive. So this is a drama. Now this egg, now can you imagine this cosmos which you are looking at? Billions of solar system, billions of Milky Ways. Can you imagine how vast? Millions of black holes. All of this is in Brahma's egg. Now start comprehending. Either it can blow your head, or it has taken my sleepless nights for many nights for me. Think of it like all these cosmic drama is in the egg of Brahma. And when Bhagawan created that Hiranya Garbha, he said, that is that egg. He showed us that egg in which the whole cosmos is. So can you imagine you and I are in that egg also? Like he brought the moon down and showed it to the boys that this is the moon. Now people can, scientific crazy minds can question it, like how could you see the moon? How could he pick it up in his hand? Now he showed us that egg of Brahma in which Brahma created this universe. That egg is Hiranyagarbha. And that is the picture of Swami which he shows like that, and he says, show it to anybody and you will cure any disease. It's powerful because it has the frequency, it has the seed of the whole creation. So there is nothing beyond this. All this multitude that we are watching and which we can't even comprehend is all in that egg. And he showed us that Brahmand, that is Hiranyagarbha. That form, when we meditate on, that is your Kusumanda. That is Mother Kushmanda. So Kushmanda is that cosmic form of mother which carries that womb. Now where that egg will sit, that egg has to sit somewhere, right? So the cosmic depiction goes that Mother Kusumanda is that one who holds that egg in her. So that is our fourth form, Ma Kushmanda. Now she is holding this whole universe egg in her womb. And what comes out is the fifth day, today. And there, what comes out is Skanda. What is Skand? We say Skand Mata. The fifth mother is the Skand Mata. Skand Mata we understand as Skanda is the name of Lord Kartikeya. That much we know. But what does the Sanskrit Skand mean? It is vibration. It is pulsation. It is vibration. So from the womb, what comes out again is vibration. Purnamada, Purnamidam, Purnada, Purnamudachyate. So nothing else can come out. What can come out from the cosmic mother is the same cosmos. So again, what comes out was Skanda, that vibratory power which was manifested in the form of Kartikeya Maharaj, who could hold the reins of senses, who could govern the world, who could lead the army of senses. That was Skanda. But that is the vibratory power of mother. And hence the fifth form of Mata, Skanda Mata, is worshipped. So there's a vibration. Can't believe it. It's such an powerful vibration. Now Skanda, there's a mythologically story, if you take it, it has a very beautiful depiction how that child was born by the will of Shiva and Parvati. See, there is again a will. He's a Manas Putra of Shiva. And then he's taken up to a different lokas where Kritikas take care of him. Hence he becomes Kartikeya. So Kritikas take care of Lord and he becomes, name is given Kartikeya. So the beauty is he's Skanda. Skanda is the vibration. So whatever vibrations we are experiencing, like Omkar, this cosmic vibration is nothing but Skand. That Skand, who gave birth, where he is nurtured, who is nurturing it, that is Skanda Mata. So that we get our fifth form of our mother, that is Skanda Mata. Now imagine, now once you have given that birth to such an effulgent vibration, effulgent being, which we are supposed to be part of that. Now what happens to the next, that evolution of mother? Now when this mother has given that, now she adorns a very beautiful, effulgent, powerful grace because of the increase of this, should I say, vibrations, this whole Skanda. She is bestowed with the power of all the three gunas. That is your three devas also. So the culmination of the power of Brahma, Vishnu and Mahesh, the culmination of Trinity, if you can squeeze them in one, which is a further expansion of this cosmic mother, that mother is worshipped as Katyayani. Now that effulgent which was manifested so big, she was born to a saint called Katyayan. Hence the name Katyayani. So Katyayan एक ऋषि थे, महर्षि थे, उनकी पुत्री की तरह उनका जन्म हुआ था. So Katyayani. But the Katyayani represents the power of Trinity. So Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, the culmination of this beauty was this Mata Katyayani. So when we worship Katyayani, we are worshipping that effulgence of mother, which has risen from the stone and reached a pinnacle of that grace in which all the three Devatas, all the trinities have converged. So that is the equivalent power of the mother. So now mother has reached towards the emergence and equivalence of that. So from either you take the Shakti path or you take the Shiva path, emergence has to be there. You can't escape. They are not separate. So these are two shades which have to merge. So Katyayani is that convergence point, if I may use the word. Pardon me if because of my English, if it may not convey that, but that is the convergence. So hence we worship the sixth night as Ma Katyayani, that full effulgent form where the Trinity merges, and she is shown as the most powerful, effulgent, graceful, fearless mother, Katyayani. After, there is a very beautiful, a format which changes. Now imagine if this effulgent happens, then there is, I think, a mental block for humans. I'll tell you why I'm sharing this, because whenever I look at, Bhagawan has really defined things in a very different ways. Like, there is a story of a joke also. What is light? They say absence of, what is darkness? And you say absence of light is darkness, right? That's how it is defined. And everybody knows about it. That's how they look at it. What is light? What is darkness? Is absence of light. The beauty is, now look at how Shiva is defined in life. If you look at our scriptures, how we define Shiva, we connote Shiva with tamas. Sattva, Rajas, tamas. In that, tamas is Shiva. Can you imagine the worst thing we give it to Shiva? If you have to think of any least decorated person, poor Shiva. Meditating on the top of hill mountain, Shiva. So if you look at that, and it used to always confuse me, Shivaratri, the darkest night is Shiva. So poor fellow is always in the darkness. What is this darkness that we are talking about? Have you ever thought? It looks funny to me also, but sometimes you think about it, like, what is this? That why do we connote Shiva with darkness? Because the more I contemplate on darkness, I realize the light is only, it's a very narrow look. Like, suppose, imagine the whole hall is dark and you have a flashlight. Wherever you put light, you feel that is a portion which is alive. But you forget that there is a huge amount of area which is in darkness. So darkness is actually larger than light from our perspective. Please don't take it literally. The darkness is actually larger than light, because for our vision, we are so narrow that whatever we see, we think that is light. But what we have not seen, we treat as a darkness. But truth is that darkness is actually light, and what we are seeing is darkness. Because we are blinded with such a narrow vision that for us, that becomes the view, and others we neglect. That's why Swami used to very beautifully say, he would put his hand palm forward and say, what is this? Isme kya hai? He will suddenly look at you and tell you, hey, kya hai? And sometimes foolishly, we will immediately look at his hand and say, Swami, nothing. Obviously there's nothing here. And he say, hey, Pichivada, this nothing is everything. And this everything is nothing. And he would smile and walk off. And we would also laugh like fools. But it has taken me decades to understand that what he was slapping me was this. That, oh child, what you're looking at and what you consider as everything is actually nothing. And what you have not considered yet is actually everything. So when we look at darkness, imagine exploring the unexplored. Imagine how much we don't know. That is why it is dark. Why do we call it a black hole? Because it's black. Because we don't know what is inside the black hole. So now they are putting binoculars and they're putting so many telescopes there, and they see Milky Ways pass by. So that small dot in the space, which we think nothing, has so much of life in it. So this is the beauty of darkness. So unfortunately, because we could not comprehend the God, imagine whatever we have comprehended about the cosmos is only that flashlight focused on a wall, but rest of the wall is still dark. So in whatever cosmos we are trying to put our zoom and say, we found some Milky Ways, we found this galaxy, that galaxy. These are flashlights. The truth is, there is so much blackout still. So our knowledge is like that light, which is so limited, narrow, and small. Whereas when you look at the darkness, so-called darkness, where the real knowledge is hidden, we are still unaware of it. Once you get realization of that darkness, you realize closer to the Shiva Tattva. That is Shiva Tattva, which is beyond the beyond, which is beyond the visible, which is beyond what is visible, which is beyond the comprehension. That Shiva Tattva, when you look at from mother's perspective, that becomes Kalaratri. So that is the mother Kalaratri, our seventh form of mother. That cosmic effulgence, which is still away from us, which we have still not explored, which we have still can't even comprehend. That mother, which is beyond our comprehension. We can't even comprehend, even up to Trigunas, we comprehend it. At least our mind has gone till Trigunas. And we said, okay, mother, we give you a name of Katyayini now. But beyond that, we failed, I think so. Because it's so difficult. We don't know what it is. And that effulgent form, which is beyond our comprehension, we named it as Kalaratri. It is represented by the deep, darkest night. And this is also in a practitioner's point of view, this is also connoted with occultism, Tantra Vidya, ये सब वहीं से निकलता है. So Kalaratri is that concept. That's why occultism is beyond the normal. You know, you try to go into the realm of unknown through your practices. Now that realm which we have not explored yet, that is Kalaratri. So we manifest, we pray to that mother as Kalaratri. Now imagine from there, the next jump. Now we have seen 7 nights. We have comprehended mother as non-comprehensible. We have seen the mother with unseen eyes. And that we call it Kalaratri. Mother is very compassionate. The God is ever compassionate. He again starts showing you his shades from a different way. And that culmination, which we realize, once you inquire into all that, you know, the journey of growth, we realize there's nothing like good, bad, right, wrong. See, all these distinctions starts falling off. Once you reach a stage of surrender, you will surrender. Once you understand Katyayini and Kalaratri, once that comprehension overwhelms us, there's nothing but shut up. Because what can you say? What can you speak? What can you see? Nothing. So the life really becomes quiet. In that quietness, there is nothing but an expression of surrender. That is Sharanagati. In that Sharanagati, when you look at the mother, then you realize the effulgence, the benevolence, the mercy, the grace, the love, the magnanimity, all that put together, we worship that mother as Mahagauri. because now we are awestruck with that form. Now we are awestruck. Our whole abilities have collapsed. Now we can't go further. And hence it is surrender. Hence it is quietness. Hence it is just acceptance of the mother. And in that effulgent acceptance of mother, we worship her, we invoke her presence as Mahagauri. In that, I am not so convergent with that astrological formation, but they will say that, you know, in seventh night, I told you it's darkest. But then the moon crescents again, and you have the sun and moon in the equal combination, supposedly on the eighth night. So the effect of the cosmic equation on a human is very neutralized at that moment. See, when moon is completely lost, it is diminished. That time, your ability to control is higher. When the moon is higher, in like normal days, when the moon is full moon, our mind is very difficult to control. Chandrama manaso jataha, chaksho suryo jayata. So mana is having a direct correlation with Chandrama. So when the moon is higher, our mind is fluctuating very heavily. So when the moon comes down, then our powering moon is ability to overpower moon is better. But all this is struggle. Whether moon is overpowering you or we are overpowering moon, it's a struggle going on. But then this night, eighth night, is that when the sun and moon are equal, there is no vagary. There is no like need to overpower anything. It is a sense of give up, acceptance, not give up, I should say acceptance, sense of surrender, acceptance. Ki bas, ab to tum hi ho ma. So whatever, because there is no good, there is no bad, there is no right, there is no wrong. It is just the mother. An acceptance of mother takes this form of Mahagauri. So this is a form of worship. At that night, eighth night, is when everything is so ready for us that one leap and we got it. You know, because we are ready. There is nothing to do. Just accept it and be. Let her take us. Let the energy, let the Shakti, let the Shiva take us wherever, whatever. And that is the surrendering mode which we should or kind of worship on the eighth night, which is Mahagauri. And after that, on the ninth night, imagine when you have surrendered, what do you expect back? So that is the full glory. You know, it is like, now child, you have given up. So let me show you who I am truly. You know, when Arjuna fell down, then only the Lord had to show him the Virat Roop. So then comes the full glory of the mother. When all our struggles have fallen, we have surrendered, everything is calm. And on the ninth night, she rises as Siddharatri. Siddhadatri is Siddha. These are all, you can say these are all attributes or powers which one can acquire. You know, like Hanumanji also said, you know, Ashta Siddhi Nava Nidhi Ke Data, Ashta Siddhi. There are 8 Siddhis that Hanumanji is able to bestow on us. Now, who is the giver of the Ashta Siddhi? Who can bestow? So there can be many bestowers, but from where the Ashta Siddhi comes, that is the cosmic power. So that form from where the Ashta Siddhis have originated is Siddhadatri. That mother in the full effulgent form, giving us the cosmic vision of her. That cosmic form of mother. We have seen the cosmic form of Narayan. Not seen actually, but we have known about it. Now the cosmic form of mother is Siddhadatri. In that cosmic form, obviously, she has the ability to bestow, because she is the originator. She is the mother of these energies. She is the mother of these powers. So she can give anything. So this is the cosmic form in which we culminate, we converge, we merge, we silent. There's nothing after that. So she has taken us from a journey where we saw the cosmic energy vibrating in a very subtle form in the stone as a Shailaputri, to the maximum effulgent form, a cosmic mother, Siddharatri. This journey is culminated on the 10th day. Now, what happens if you look at this, a ritualistic outlook of this whole journey? You invoke the mother, you go through this 9 nights. Imagine, expectation is that now we have merged with the Siddharatri. We were like a stone in which our consciousness was very small, unaware, unnurtured. And now, in these 9 nights of penance, if done properly, God only knows, on the 9th night, we are supposed to get one with the Siddharatri. And that effulgence is the mergence. And that mergence is celebrated on 10th day, that is Vijayadashmi. So we celebrate our oneness with the mother on 10th night, 10th day. That now we have become one. And that is why this Visarjan also takes place. Now the formal Visarjan of the form body, like I have merged, now I don't need this body. So we give up the body at the end of our journey, supposedly. When our journey finishes, we are supposed to give away this body. Similarly, the installation of Mata's form, which we have done on the first night, first day, is Visarjan karte hain, we give away on the 10th day. Because now, let the body go, let the form go, because I have become one with the mother. And that is how we celebrate Dashera. So Navaratri celebrated, the union is celebrated. Now, historically, we will talk about it as, it's a very powerful day, trust me. I always look at it like, there is a very formula, there's a very powerful days and timing. Do you think Ram could not have killed Ravan before? Do you know Dasharatha, Swami explains it so beautifully. It seems Ravan was playing pranks from long time back. So Ravan had once thought that he will attack Dasharath and kill him so that he can never have a child. Dasharath hears it in Ayodhya and he shoots an arrow from there only. He doesn't even go to Lanka. He shoots an arrow and he locks him up in the Lanka. So the whole Lanka is like barricaded by Dasharath sitting in Ayodhya. Can you imagine the power of Dasharath? He didn't even go. He didn't even carry his army, nothing. He just shot one from Ayodhya itself. What kind of missile he must be having, God only knows. He didn't kill anybody, but he just locked him inside. He caged him. And ultimately, Ravan had to say sorry, and then he took it back. So he had a withdrawal capacity also. Today, if you shoot a missile, you can't bring it back. But Dasharath had a capacity, he could shoot, lock you up, and then when you say sorry, he bring it back. His son was Ram, who on a physical level has shown higher powers than his father, who could do things which his father also did not do on a physical level. So he was more capable. Why do you think he waited for this moment? Everything has its own timing. And everything has to be done at the right time. It is not an 11th hour for God. It is the hour for God. We think 11th because we are desperate. We want everything fast. We have to eat hot. And that is the problem with humans. We don't enjoy the journey. We get literally carried away by destinations. We rush into our lives. We destroy our enjoying beautiful life. We want to chase life. For what? Life is not to be chased. It is to be enjoyed. God has given us to play, enjoy, but we are chasing it. We are running for what? I don't know. But he enjoys it. That's why you will never find an avatar in a rush. But he will accomplish what humans can't even comprehend. But avatar, you will never find him in rush mode. Swami did so much around us. Have you ever seen him like, oh, I'm running? He was always calm. He was surprisingly calm, sometimes disturbingly calm. Like, everybody is waiting and he's like relaxed, listening to bhajans and in his own mode. And people will wonder like, Swami, are you really real? Look at this. We are dying here. And you just come out and finish. Because for him, it was on time. He knew exactly when the time is. So when Dashera, when we say Ram killed Ravan or Hiranyakashipu was killed at that day, these are all same days. In different eras, different gods have done the same thing. Even if they have to conquer or overpower a negativity force, these timings help you. Like Shivratri, you can meditate on God any night. But why is Shivratri special? Because it helps. Similarly, if you have to conquer negativity from an external perspective, these nights, these days are conducive and helpful. So when the Lord does it, he also sets a precedence for people that, look, if you want to do something good, here's the time, do it. We just finished Shraddh. What is Shraddh? It's a consolidated period, man. Offer it. If you have messed up with your fathers and grandfathers, fix it now. Till it becomes Kalpsar dosh and you are stuck again. So do everything. It's all very scientifically cleaned up for us. If you follow the protocols of our Sanatan philosophy, life would become very easy and better and enjoyable. And that is how we celebrate this Navratri. I don't know, I'm sorry I exceeded your time, I think. But so I'm open to any questions, any thoughts. Siddharth, Anush? I think I just went a little over with my timing, but it's okay.
Not really, brother. We were looking at going on till 8:15. But I think a lot of going through the chats, a lot of devotees in this Samarpan session are absolutely mesmerized by your narrative of the 9 days, and has prompted a lot of thought of the evolution of the mother goddess and the Devi Tattva from the subtlest form of Shailaputri to the divine effulgence of Siddhadatri. The first question that we have in the chat stream is, what type of sadhana can we undertake to empower our spiritual growth during these 9 days of Navratri?
I'm not the qualified person to answer these questions, because rituals, honestly speaking, Bhagawan had a very unique way for all of us. Even though on one hand, he did all the rituals, but on the same time, he never stressed on anything in that manner. He always took us from the concept of what's the intent of it and why should you do it. And if why can be achieved, then what is not that critical. But what is required, because our whys are not clear. So we must do whatever is traditionally given to us. Do not try to copy anybody, just because I see Sai Mohan doing some Ashtanga yoga, so I should start jumping and breaking my bones. No need. Because everybody has been designed differently. And whichever way you have been able to connect with Lord, do that. But what is important is connect with God. That sync with God is important. It is not important that I do what you do. It is important that I do anything to connect with God. So do whatever. You can sing bhajans for a whole late night. Who cares? Our Bhagavan has given us very simple modules. If you can't even sing, if you have a voice like me, then just chant Sai Ram, Sai Ram. I can sing for myself, but I can't tolerate my voice also many times. So, but at least Sai Ram I can say, and that nothing matters to me. So I am not qualified to tell you what formats. For me, I think what my understanding says, our Lord is very simple, very easy. Do whatever is your format of life with God. Just do it. But important test is, are you connected with Him? If you feel connected, if you feel one, you got it. That's it.
I think a very, very beautiful, valid point. And the Navratri celebrations itself, the Navratri celebration itself, Swami showed us that there are so many paths that we could undertake. There was, of course, the ritualistic aspect of the yagna. There was the intellectual part of it in the evenings during the with Prashanti Vidwan Mahasabha.
Vedapurush Vidwan Mahasabha, yes.
Yes. And then there was the service aspect to it when we would all go to the villages taking Swami's love and Swami's message through the Gram Seva. I think, like you pointed out, anything that connects us to Swami is the appropriate sadhana during this period.
But be cautious that do not underestimate or do not undercut
Yes.
any path.
Yes, yes.
Because as we talk about, Advaita, Dvaitic philosophies are equally powerful. If not, then why would Avatar take birth? See, the romance of God is only with Dvaita. Similarly, rituals, when we talk about it, many of the youngsters have a habit of looking down upon rituals. Not right. Even your waking up is a ritual, your brushing is a ritual. Who told you to brush in this format? So there is some genius told you and you believe that genius. Because you believe that that way your teeth will be better. But we have forgotten that we used to chew twigs before. So now today some modern fellow will come up and then you will again do that differently. So these are all testing going on. Now imagine a format of life which has been practiced, tested for over 30,000 years, given to us in a capsule. So that is what we call as rituals. So do not underestimate it just because our ignorance says so. Just because my limited understanding of logics do not convince me, that does not mean that that is not right. It only means that you have not reached that level of understanding, or you haven't met some right person to explain to you. Either way. But mostly it is the first reason that we have not reached that level of acceptance and understanding. So I would only suggest that always keep that in mind, that never underestimate or undercut our rituals. Otherwise, why would Avatar also help you? He has done everything. If you know that Swami Mandir, every day we have a Shivling Puja, Durga Puja. Why does he do that? They are not easy stuff. Once Bhagawan said, the vibrations of saints and seers is the cause for this equality, the equilibrium of this world. You see so much of chaos, but why is it still surviving? Because there are some saints who are still sitting in different corners of the world and meditating. So you can imagine the power of the meditation there, which is able to balance the negativity of the chaos which you are seeing. So never underestimate the power of meditation, the power of prayer, the power of homam. Now today they say that when you put ghee into that fire, it creates some kind of an oxygen and air, which is, triggers the rain. Now, all the deserted area of world, go and put that fire and that thing and see how much rain you get. And even if you get rain, it is not same as homam, because homam is not just for that. It has got so many other vibrational effects which purify your body, energy, surrounding. So it's a different science altogether. So I would only suggest, let's be humble about it, because there is darkness, so to say, larger darkness than the light.
Yes.
And we we are still stuck with our tube light, our flashlights. So we still don't have even the bigger flashlight to see the bigger light. So what can we discuss about those things? Any other questions, brother?
I'll skip a few questions because your point about looking down upon one path or looking down upon certain rituals. This question is directly related to that. How do we balance knowledge and humility? Because there is a risk of ego, getting egotistic with knowledge, or probably our little flashlight. When we see something with the flashlight, we think that is the truth. So there is a risk of getting egotistic with the knowledge. How do we tame our mind in this journey?
Very, very good question. I don't know, very, very good question, Anush. Actually, there's a very small difference between self-confidence and arrogance. You can always confuse these two. A self-confident person can become very fast arrogant. An arrogant person can think that he is self-confident. The test of knowledge, if I have to put a kind of a indicator, a test of knowledge is humility. If your knowledge does not give you humility, that means your knowledge is not right. There is a very beautiful dictum, and I always tell people that look at Vedic dictums as dictums and laws. Okay, no arguments there. You can debate, for learning purposes, you can discuss, but understand they are dictum, they are formulas. Shraddhavan labhate jnanam. It's a dictum. It is from Bhagavad Gita, but it's a dictum. So Shraddhavan labhate jnanam. So it's very clearly defined that knowledge can be acquired only through Shraddha. The person who has Shraddha is eligible for knowledge. So this knowledge, what we are indicating, is not academic degree. See, today, unfortunately, the Macaulay's education system has destroyed ourselves. We can get degrees after a number of years in the college or number of years in the school. It was not the case in our Gurukul system of education. Gurukul system of education was very flexible. It was depending on the child and the guru. Guru understood when the child is ready. He will put some test and finish. That's why Ram could finish the whole education in 12 years. He was a postdoctorate doctor, if I may put it in that present context. By the time he was 12 years old, finished, done and dusted. Whereas other people can be like growing old by just crossing one level. It's fine because nobody is forcing anything. And that is how the Varnashram came into picture. Who has the capacity in what area, they go in that area, period. So that's how the Varnashrams came. So it's a new discussion again. But to understand it, that knowledge should not be mistaken as collection of facts and information. Today we are looking at knowledge as information gathering. Who can vomit better is a good scorer. If I vomit better, then I am getting a gold medal. I'm not discounting all the gold medalists. Please don't kill me for that. But that's how it has turned to be. If I don't have the memory of memorization, cramming, and dumping it back, then I am a loser. But that is not the education we're talking about. So Shraddhavan labhate jnanam, that jnana which we are talking about is not collection of facts. When the information is churned, that mananam, जब बोलते हैं ना कि हम आपने सीखा उसका मनन करिए. As Bhagawan would say, you first graze like a cow and then you sit under a shade and munch. That munching for humans is mananam. और हम लोग इतने फास्ट हैं लाइफ में, thanks to COVID, थोड़ा सा force किया. COVID forced us to sit and do mananam, but still we killed it. We didn't use that opportunity. We are now online and we are destroying our peace more. Because online we don't have even time even to breathe. Now laptop goes in my bed also now. So the trouble is that mananam point is not with us. And because of that lack of mananam, we are not able to convert the information into knowledge. So the knowledge, only when it is done churning, contemplated on, it becomes knowledge. When that knowledge is put into practice, then it becomes an experience, which ultimately reflects as wisdom. That's why when you say Vidwan hai, ye gyani hai, that is gyan. But agar Vidwata bolte hain, jisko hum log Vidwan hai, that means they have now started experiencing it. And then when you become wise, that is experience talking. Unfortunately, today our wisdom is only based on age. And that also gets skewed towards what kind of experiences you have, because you have not munched. Without munching only experience, you will only get a skewed experiences, and you start interpreting them as wisdom. And then you don't have the patience and the humility to accept your wrong learnings and considering them to be a wisdom. So this is a very big mess up, because nobody learns patience. And that is why I feel, because of my interaction and work in kindergarten areas, I've realized how crucial and important Jyoti meditation is for children. Bhagawan ne introduce kiya hai Bal Vikas ke liye. People may not understand how crucial and important this Jyoti meditation is. And if you can introduce Jyoti meditation to your child when he's as young as 2.5 years to 3 years, by 3 the child must know how to sit. Even if he can't sit for 5 minutes, it's okay. But he should be initiated into the sitting process. And by the time he's 4, the child should be able to sit and look at the flame for a few minutes, at least 5 minutes. By the time he's 5-year-old, he should be able to sit for 7 to 10 minutes looking at the flame. That is your challenge. And that we have achieved in our schools. A child of 5-year-old can sit looking at the flame for 7 minutes in one place. Obviously, they can dance a little bit here and there, but they will not move from their place for 7 minutes. That is the power of Bhagawan. When he gives us a tool, I always look at them as, finale. Bhagawan has given it, now use it. Okay, so knowledge indicator is humility. If humility is not coming along with knowledge, that means your knowledge is flawed. Shraddhavan labhate jnanam. Hope it helps.
Wonderful. Wonderful. You also answered a previous question in the chat list, which says that, can you suggest any meditation technique? The this was a 2-part question, which I will just relate to your point about, that though we had the opportunity to go inward during this lockdown, and though we had the opportunity to develop, I think, there has been so many distractions that we have kept our minds occupied with. How can we sharpen our focus on Swami?
I'm still trying to do that to myself. Because Bhagawan is a very difficult, I should not use the term like, as they say, it's difficult nut to crack. It is not easy game, but yes, as I look at karma philosophy, they say karmanne vadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. So I only know one thing, that we have certain tools, we have certain formats to follow in life. When it will materialize, manifest, I don't know. So sharpening your focus on God, if I may tell you bluntly, it is His grace to allow us to focus on Him. But our effort to that grace is our effort to think of Him. So if you can constant, like we're talking about CIA, constant integrated awareness, the more and more we can think of him, be it following a ritualistic practice or a non-conventional practices, it does not matter. The more and more we try to be in his thoughts, be in his memory, feel him around, rest he will take care. Don't get into jargons. Don't worry about how much I have been able to look at it or not. Am I focusing on the flame or not? Those are all important things to do. I have to do an activity, I'll do it. But as I said to you, the important is if I look at the flame and think of a movie, then I have done something. It's not serving the purpose. Whereas I can be looking at the TV, but I will be thinking about Swami. I think that's a better deal. But now I can't start opening TV and then saying I am thinking of Swami. So people can play with the scenarios. That is not the way I'm trying to tell you. But the fact is, the bottom line is, are you able to think of Bhagawan? I'll give you another example, which is very powerful, and I'm still struggling to get that understanding. It was our Raja Reddy Garu. I'm sure all of you must have heard his name. I always believed, or always thought, that a mind can do only one thing at a time. Science can tell you that, right? It cannot duplicate things. But then comes a time when you start understanding that Swami says, constantly chant my name. Even if you do anything, the name should happen. So this thought came to me that, can I do two things together? Can it happen that I am talking to you and still my mind is chanting Sairam, Sairam? Can it happen? And I tried and it gets confusing. If you try, you are loose. I tell you, the beauty of spirituality I have seen is that the more you try, you fail. So you just have to do what you have to do and things will manifest. And then I hear interview of Sri Raja Reddy Garu. And there he says, in a very matter of fact, he spoke in such a casual, matter of fact manner. He said, well, that is going on. I'm talking to you, but chant is going on. And I had to pause that and I said, what? Did he really say that? And I was shocked because I thought it's not possible. But here he says, and he said it in such a casual manner. And that was something like an eye-opener for me that, yes, so that is another state which I should aspire for. So can I be an aspiration of that state wherein I am just doing my thing and chant is going on? So I don't know how to do that, but the only step I know is keep chanting as much as I can. Whether it will manifest in that or not, that is again not my karmanne vadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. He has shown me the goal, but when the goal will manifest, how it will manifest, I don't know. But he has shown me the path, one path, that is to chant. Now, if I chant today for 1 hour, tomorrow for 2 hours, day after for more hours, probably, I don't know, maybe one day I will also become like Raja Reddy Garu and that chant will continue. I don't know, man. So I'm just saying that. So that is how it is, Focus is not given in one day or one night. It can be a result of, I don't know how many births to reach that. Mother Parvati had to take a rebirth to learn focus, brother. When she was student of Mahadev himself, she had to take a rebirth to learn focus, brother. So हमारी तो कहानी नहीं है यार, हम तो कहीं के नहीं है.
One last question, though there are more in the chat list. But one last question is that, and especially I think this might, be very, very relevant to the youngsters who have or new devotees who have never had the opportunity to see Bhagawan in his physical form. So how do we strengthen our connect with Swami, especially for those who, for us as well, but even for those who have not seen, especially for those who have not seen Bhagawan in his physical form? How do we strengthen this connect?
See, whatever answers I may give you, I will never discount the grace and the blessing of being with Avatar in the physical proximity. So all of us who have had the privilege of seeing the Avatar walk cannot be replaced. That is, that can be taken for granted. Having said that, the lesson to be learned is very simple, and we are discussing that in different forums also. I look at it in the 3 stages. First is with God, for God, and in God. And we have been discussing this, and it's easy for me to convey that. So being in the physical proximity of Bhagavan actually bestowed on us, without even our comprehension, the with God object. We didn't have to really work on it. With God happened. We didn't even know what the hell is happening, but it happened. With God is done. Now, what is that which happened while he was physically available to us? It is the same thing which has been happening to the people for over 20,000-30,000 years. How they connected to Ram, Krishna. It is the same thing which has happened to us when we were with Bhagavan Baba in physical form. The intensity, the connect was higher because of his physical presence, no doubt about it. But the process is same. Now, what is the process? Now, we have to break it down for people to understand what happens when we are in the physical presence of Avatar. By being in the physical presence, immediately we come to know about his physical life. We know about his life story. We don't have to read books. We see, we hear. There is so much of happening in the air that we know it. People will, I can bet you that many of the devotees might not have read Satyam Shivam Sundaram, but they know the stories of Bhagavan. Why do we know? Because of the environment of being with Avatar. So with Avatar gives you the advantage of learning about him. But even being with him, did all of us learn the same thing? In the same intensity? In the same depth? No. And that is where Bhagavan said that you can be near me, but what is more important is be dear to me. Don't be like a frog near a lotus. Be like honeybee with the lotus. So who can extract the juice of the flower is more important than who is sitting next to him and doing tartar. So I don't know. I might have been the biggest, Todd, or sitting next to Frog Swami and then speaking. But did I really grasp anything from nearness of God? So with God can give you the information about God. With God allows you to open up to him, to start welcoming him, and to start understanding a little bit about his love, grace, magnanimity, and the nature, which can be derived in the same manner as devotees have been doing it for centuries now. So today also we have Bhagavan's, we are fortunate, we have videos of Bhagavan. Today we can't comprehend how Rama really looked like, how Krishna really looked like. We can only depend on one version of Valmiki and one version of Bhagavatam. But we have million versions of Satya Sai. And we have million videos. Are we making enough effort to explore that? Are we doing enough to read about him, to learn about him? All his discourses are captured. They are free on air. Just because it is free does not mean it is, it is read, it is used. But how many of us have really gone into and read? How many of us have really taken time to even explore Vahinis, which he has written himself? There are billion books written by others on him, but there are very good number of books that he has written. Can you imagine Avatar writing it? Krishna spoke for 20 minutes to Arjun in battlefield, which was later on converted by Vyasa into 18 chapters. So we don't know what actually Krishna spoke. We are only getting an interpretation of Vyasa of what Krishna might have spoken to Arjun. So thank you very much. So there is already a dilution happened, because Krishna spoke that too in Pichashni language to Arjun in 20 minutes, because it is a faster to speak. And Vyasa heard it, converted that, and because he knew how idiot we would be in the future, so poor fellow converted it into chapters, and not one, 18 chapters, by slowly taking us, so that we can comprehend little bit of what Krishna said to Arjuna. Finished. And here is our Krishna, who has spent 1 month giving Gita himself to all of us. And he said, Krishna gave it to one Arjuna, I am giving it to all of you. How many of us have read even that Gita of Bhagavan? Touch your heart and ask question. And you talk about connecting with God. So when we are thinking of connecting with God, how much have we made effort to learn about him? How did he sleep? Where did he sleep? How big was his room? What was his daily routine? What did he eat? How did he find time to write, give discourses, interviews, and meet hundreds and thousands of people every day, and create this mammoth around himself? Can you imagine that? That is avatar. So when we start learning about avatar, that is with avatar. So with avatar can happen. Yes, that's why I said in the first, with his physical presence, with was just bestowed on us. We didn't have to use our head, nothing. It just came to us. But if we sit with, if we just enjoy the laurels of, I was with Bhagawan, I got some 5 interviews, I got a chain, I got a ring, you are nothing better than a frog near the lotus. You can keep tuttering the whole life, nothing will happen, nothing more than being a frog near him. So what is the benefit of avatar spending his precious golden time on us, so that we can become frog? Unfortunate. It's not my words, trust me. This is how Bhagavan has scolded me also. What is the point of giving you that much if you can't go and share it? That was expectation of Bhagavan, that we can't just sit with our laurels that I have enjoyed Bhagavan. So what? Even a frog enjoys the lotus. But really, does he really enjoy the lotus? Nothing. So with God is possible from any part. Yes, people who enjoyed the physical proximity, they had a better chance. I'll give you another spin to it. Like Bhagavan said, you call yourself Sai students. You are the student of the institution, not Sai student. So imagine a slap on our face. He said, you guys are calling Sai student. How many of you really follow me? So you are, yes, by becoming a student of the institution, we have accessibility and the ability to progress a little faster in becoming Sai student, because now we have a first-hand exposure to know what is expected, how to conduct. So we have a better chance of becoming a Sai student. But just because I have got an admission in Satya Sai institution, it does not qualify me to be a Sai student, according to Bhagavan. So similarly, just because you have joined the Sai organization, it does not qualify us to become Sai devotees. Bhagavan said himself, you are members of the organization. I am still looking for devotee. Thank you very much. It's not my words, right? It's Bhagavan's word only. You are all members of the Sai organization. You're not my devotee. So what is that? That is, even after we lived with him We were with him still. So people who have not seen him, yes, you can feel a little bad that we missed the beautiful form, no doubt about it, but you haven't lost much, because that form has shown us that it is not limited to time and space. It can still manifest. Even if he just said, no, 11 seconds, if you just think of him for 11 seconds focused, he will manifest. I don't know when I will get my 11 seconds, but the fact is, he's not gone off. So with God is that. The only thing is, when we get with God, it will naturally prompt us to live for God. You know, the baby steps he tells you, when you're cooking, think that I'm doing it for Swami. When you're driving, you think I'm doing for Swami. Do you think you cook for Swami, he gets something from you? Nothing. Poor fellow eats the same sambar and rice every day. So he gets nothing. But he says, give it to me, so that you start understanding what it means to live for God. Because the life starts getting purified. The moment we start living for God, we start purifying ourselves. It's a journey. It is not something that he gets. He gets nothing, poor fellow. But he still allows you to say that, because we gain something out of it. And he is merciful. He says, okay, it's okay. I will stand. You pretend to give it to me, so that you will at least learn something. So then we start living for him. And that for him one day may mature so much that we also forget that what are we doing for, but we still conduct in the best possible manner in his glory, in his name. We become one with him, and that is in him. So the journey from with him, for him, to in him. I hope it helps.
So, I mean, I'll just, your three statements of being with God, living for God, and living in God. I think it's basically summarizes the essence of a Sai student. Right? When we call ourselves a student of psychology or a student of mathematics, studying Bhagwan's message and his life would make us at least, an attempt at being a Sai student. And like
not
you
only
said,
Sai student, brother, you can extend the definition. Sai devotee, Sai youth, anything which has a prefix Sai is the whole game. The privilege of Sai in the front is the whole magic. You know, Swami says one, that one is the powerful one.
Everything else is zero.
All the zeros get value. So it's like that.
Absolutely. I think based on the comments and based on my own experience over the last almost 2 hours, I think this has been one of the most thrilling Samarpan sessions that we have had the fortune and blessing of experiencing. You spoke about the significance, brother, of Navratri as it is celebrated in Prashanti Nilayam, where we got the opportunity to see the creator, creation, emergence, everything together in one platform, in one frame. And the importance of rituals and the practices and all knowledge in Sanatan Dharma, being the sole purpose of it all being self-realization. And ultimately, you took us through the thrilling journey of evolution the 9 nights, and ultimately leading to emergence on the day of Vijay Dashami. So this whole session would continue in our own reflection, in our own introspection, because you have given us so much to think about. And we will always be grateful to Bhagwan to have been blessed with this session in the very auspicious occasion of Navratri. which has several, which is so significant, including the fact that it was on the day of Vijayadashmi that Bhagwan in his previous avatar, as Shirdi Baba, chose to give up his mortal coil. And very coincidentally, it was the English date was 15th October in 1918, and Vijayadashmi happens to fall on 15th October this year as well. So a very, very powerfully spiritually charged period, and a very, very powerful spiritually charged conversation that we had today. Thank you so much on behalf of all of us gathered here, and thank you on behalf of everybody who will be relishing these words through the YouTube channel. So, thank you, brother, and thank you, Swami, for this opportunity. We will now close the session with Samasta Loka and Om Shanti.
Thank you, Sai Ram.
Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sai Ram, and happy Navratri to everyone.
Sai Ram, everybody. Thank you so much, Sai Ram.